Hello everybody and welcome to this video. Before I start, I just wanted to say a few things regarding this channel. This is the first time I attempt an opinion video and I'm not sure how popular, if ever, this channel will be, so consider this a sort of experiment, if you will. I might expand this channel by also including reviews, discussion video and board games, and so on. I'm not a video editor by any means, so I will mostly use gameplay clips that I made as background, but also no obnoxious intro sequences. But now, without further ado, let's focus on the topic at hand, the Epic Games Store and Metro Exodus controversy. People like me who were born in the early 90s remember Epic Games, or Epic Mega Games as they were originally called, for some impressive games franchises such as Jazz Jackrabbit, the legendary Unreal series, and moving forward Gears of War. The latter two franchises in particular were pioneering for the genres and were extremely successful. Today, especially after the cancellation of the latest iteration of Unreal Tournament, Epic Games are known, of course, for the massively profitable Battle Royale game Fortnite. It is so profitable, in fact, that the estimated daily revenues for the game are of approximately $1.2 million, despite being free to play, thanks to their in-game cosmetic shop. It was only logical then that Epic Games would not rest on their laurels and expand as a company. In a surprise move, Epic decided to found their own digital platform and marketplace to compete against Steam, Origin, GOG, and other digital vendors. Now, after this brief introduction for people who are not entirely familiar on the topic, we can get to the core of the discussion. The problem for competitors in this field is that gamers are unwilling to install yet another client that adds bloat to their systems. We have Steam for most games, Origin for EA games, Battle.net for Blizzard games and a couple of third-party ones, GOG Galaxy for retro games, even though it is not a requirement and games from their service can be installed without it. So how could Epic convince gamers to install their own client? Epic thought that the best solution for this problem was to create an aggressive strategy which translated into purchasing exclusive rights for the digital distribution of several high-profile games, including Metro Exodus. Now, one of the problems of exclusivity in general is that there is less choice for the consumers, because among other things, they're forced to buy the product on the distributor's terms at their price. In this case though, Deep Silver, the publisher of Metro Exodus, announced that their game would be an Epic Games Store exclusive for the PC platform only 1 month before release, which angered many consumers. I have to say, I personally find that this controversy was a bit overblown. Don't get me wrong, it is still inconvenient for us, the consumers, and the timing of it was certainly flawed. However, if you think about it for a second, it's not really a big deal, is it? It would be foolish to not enjoy a well-made, immersive game like this, simply because of the need to install a client that you can choose to run only when you need to play the game. It wouldn't do you any good, and you would punish the developers of the game who poured their heart and soul into this game, and had nothing to do with this decision, as it was Deep Silver's and not 4A Games. Again, I want to make this clear. I'm not saying that this was the ideal solution. More choice is always the best thing to have, and let's face it, the Epic Games Store at the moment is not a very good platform. It doesn't even have basic features that you would expect in 2019, like cloud saves, the ability to play offline, reviews, and many more. But remember how the Steam client was back in 2004 when Half-Life 2 launched? I remember it back then, and trust me, it wasn't very good. It had massive technical problems, and not even half of the features of today. But the only way you could play one of the greatest games of all time was through it. Imagine if people decided to boycott Half-Life 2 and subsequent Valve games because of it. And I remember the skepticism on Steam around that time. You could argue that this is 2019 though, and the lack of certain features is inexcusable now, and you might be right. I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, let's give it some time. I'm sure that it will evolve into a much better program than what it is today, but depriving yourselves of the experience of one of the candidates for best FPS of the season just to avoid spending a couple of minutes to create an account and install a program, I don't think it's really wise. More recently, people started to review bomb the game on Steam to protest against Epic Games' time exclusivity. I'm all for boycotts when I feel that they are necessary. Remember, for example, when Take-Two Interactive decided to threaten modders of GTA 5 and people responded by review bombing? That actually helped, and 2K was forced to apologize in the end. Or when DICE introduced that ridiculous microtransaction-filled progression system to Battlefront 2. What I'm trying to say here is that there are certain times in which we, the consumers, need to take peaceful action by voting with our wallets, for example, as these actions have proven to work. This case, however, is a little more complicated than that. I think that if Epic or Deep Silver announced the exclusivity agreement from the start, people would have gotten over it in a week or two. Instead, they decided to do so only a month before release, and I think that wasn't entirely fair to the consumers who perhaps were planning to use their Steam wallet funds to buy the game, only to discover that they couldn't anymore. Granted, at least Steam have honored the original pre-orders. In fact, Steam have absolutely nothing to do with this decision, and they actually released a statement where they deny any responsibility on this one. This was solely on the publisher Deep Silver, not the developer, and Epic Games. So I invite the public not to blame this on 4A, as once again they had no saying in this. They were probably as stunned by this decision as the consumers were. In any case, given the backlash by gamers, I'm fairly certain that Deep Silver have learned from this and will not proceed with such deals very close to release, even though this must have profited Deep Silver quite a bit, as I can't imagine Epic Games not rewarding them financially for the exclusivity deal. In the end, the decision is up to us, of course. Personally, I don't feel this is a worthy cause for a boycott, but this is just my opinion, and I can understand people who felt betrayed by this decision and won't go ahead with the purchase. But I feel what EA or DICE did in the last months was far, far worse than this. Perhaps I will talk about them in a future video. Regardless, I would like to hear from you as well, so leave a comment with your thoughts, and I would appreciate your like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one.